Hello, everyone. Welcome to another podcast, and this one is titled The Misunderstanding of Restitution. You may have heard this word being used in the Christian religious corridor. Its understanding is yet to be fully established. Today, we are going to find out what restitution is and what it is not. Welcome again. My name remains Jesse Muyiwa-Ojo, your host on this podcast. Restitution is a doctrine practiced widely amongst Christians, yet some have faulted its practice as obsolete. Now, let's look for dictionary meaning of restitution. A dictionary puts it this way: the restoration of something lost or stolen to its proper owner. Premiumbeat.com. Another definition says it's a recompense for injury or loss. And yet another definition. This one says it's the restoration of something to its original state. If we take a closer look at these three dictionary meanings, we will conclude that restitution is about returning something that is taken unlawfully or wrongfully. From this premise, it is clear that if a born-again child of God had mistakenly or intentionally taken something that belongs to another person in the past, such a child of God, according to the doctrine of restitution, must return such an item to the rightful owner. The word restitution appears in the Bible 6 times. 5 of those 6 times are in the Old Covenant, or what we know as Old Testament. Premiumbeat.com. It is mentioned only once in the New Testament, that is, in the book of Acts, chapter 3, verse 21. Let's read from verse 20, and I quote, "And he shall send Jesus Christ, which before was preached unto you, whom the heavens must receive, until the times of restitution of all things, which God hath spoken by the mouth of all his holy prophets since the world began." End of quote. These verses of the scripture is very clear. Everything must be restituted after the end of the world. So, if you as a child of God remember at any time that you have taken anything unlawfully in the past that belongs to somebody else, the ideal thing to do, if you must be received by God, is to return such an item or items to their owners, even if it takes some pains to do so. Now, there are certain issues or matters that should not be restituted. It is wrong to apply the doctrine in these circumstances. It will be spiritually incorrect to do so. What are the circumstances? 1. Aborting a pregnancy is not restitution. It is killing, murder. 2. Fornication or adultery committed before marriage cannot be restituted. 3. Marrying of multiple women before being born again. None of those women should be sent packing, especially if they were single before such marriage took place. You can read 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verses 10 and 11 for further assistance. Taking an already married woman as a wife, such woman could be restituted to the rightful husband. In such a case, restitution is in place. Number 4, fake certificates used in securing a job. Lastly, number 5, adoptions. All of these circumstances come under a big title called SIN, sin. They are issues of confession and discontinuation, not restitution. Once a young man impregnates a woman outside marriage, there is nothing to restitute. They have simply become man and wife. Marriage protocols should begin. This act is sinful. What does God say about sin in James chapter 5 verse 16? I quote, "Confess your faults one to another and pray one for another, that ye may be healed. The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much." End of quote. Now, the purpose of confession to your spouse, friend, boss, brother, sister, uncle, etc. is for healing. God has already forgiven you when you confessed to God in your secret. So, confession to fellow human beings bring complete healing. Healing? How? Satan stores guilt in the heart of the forgiven. That storage of guilt is a wound. It hurts whenever the fellow remembers. Premiumbeat.com. 1 John chapter 3, verses 19 to 21. Let's read. "And hereby know that we are of the truth, and shall assure our hearts before him. For if our hearts condemn us, God is greater than our hearts, and knoweth all things. Beloved, if our heart condemns us not, then have we confidence towards God." End of quote. This means if our hearts condemn us by the guilt deposited in it by Satan, then God is also condemning us. So, it is good to get our hearts healed by confession. In conclusion, restitution should be applied correctly. Thank you for listening. Until I come your way again in a new episode of Knowledge Beyond Natural Boundaries, remain good. My name is Jesse Muyiwa-Ojo. Thank you.